Live
Yay!
from the Astral is Miwa Mac. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
like that picture
this is
behind
from
you.
this artist in the late 1800s. She channeled all of her work and then hid it for like 100 years. So yeah, she had all these pieces and then someone found it, and she Hilma Klint. She's very cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. She does the Bezek.
Yeah, and she had these other women, and they were called the Five, and they would do like a seance every week. And
yeah, I was gonna say, so she had to hide them because she would have been.
I mean, I should read. I've read about her, and she's very weird and cool. So
yeah, I mean, we would have been burned at the stake. 100
That's a
years
rough
ago.
way to go.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
That yeah.
We're living in better times. It's yeah.
Yes. Let's just not. We won't go there. Really dark jokes could be flowing out right about now.
Well, we've got I love the woohoo. How cool, Three. See, I am cool. That was a comment I was reading out loud. Okay, we've got people coming in. We're here. It's noon. We had a seamless transition. And we're going to talk about the astral plane, what it is, how to get there, all things astral. Yeah. There's questions, but you can start out and then I'll read off some of our questions.
All right. Amazing. You know, the first place where I'd like to start is really giving a lay of the land as to what's going on when a person goes to sleep, because generally when people think of the astral plane, they think of the place they go when their body is asleep at night, where they go to spiritually. Some people call this the place where you dream, right? But there's a lot of things that can happen in between actually getting all the way to the astral plane, spiritually speaking, while your body's asleep at night. So I think first talking about sleep a little bit makes the most sense. But I guess to rewind first, for those who may not know, the astral plane, some people call it the other side. It is the spiritual realm where entities exist without bodies. It's where you as a soul can go to have what I call astral adventures or astral experiences. It is the place where all energy resides, and it does merge a little bit here with the spiritual plane. Some people call that bridging heaven and earth, when they're able to really bring the magic of the astral plane and their capabilities with their spiritual body into the physical body. So this is where us as human beings, not human bodies, are able to experience energy or psychic phenomenon or really cool things like having intuitive thoughts like, I know my friend's going to call, and then all of a sudden they pick up the phone and call. And that happens because the astral plane is also all around us. The difference is that the physical plane, our physical bodies and our physical existence, those portions of us and these kind of constructs like that tree there, you know, the physical items with a lot of mass and gravity, those don't go over to the astral plane with us. The astral plane is where a soul goes when their body dies. It's where a soul comes from before a body is born or a baby is born. It's also, again, like what I was saying, where we go when we dream at night, or sometimes when you have a daydream, it's where we go also. I think that kind of defines the astral plane as broadly as I can. These are kind of broad strokes that I'm painting here.
So the astral
Yeah, go ahead, Three.
is it's not this place. It's over there. It's really like an overlay of where we are now physically.
Yeah.
I have a spiritual body, ideally in my body, and that can interact with the astral plane, with or without my awareness, right? Right.
Yes, with or without your awareness. Yeah,
right.
That's the. Yeah. So with that said, again, kind of back to where I was thinking of starting, which is what one does when they're asleep at night. And there's many levels of what can happen to a person. And most people, when they think of their dreams, either they don't have any dreams at night, so they go to sleep and it's kind of all just dark, and they wake up and they don't remember anything. And then there's some people who go to sleep at night and then they remember, or most people I would say go to sleep at night, or most people who remember their dreams go to sleep at night and they remember what I call like dream fragments, where it's kind of a fragmented experience. Very few people I know can consciously astral, where their body's asleep at night and they consciously go over to the other side and they have a continuous memory or remembering of all the things that they did spiritually the night before.
Is that the same as lucid dreaming?
Very similar. Lucid dreaming, most people, when they talk about that, they're talking about really remembering their dreams, and what I call conscious astraling is you can also manipulate your dreams or change them, kind of, if you will, like Mary Poppins at the snap of your fingers.
Okay. So why can so few of us do that? That's a big.
Yeah, so the degree to which one can remember their dreams or remember what they're doing on the other side has everything to do with how much energy they collect up during the day, which gets stored in the body as like static charge or stuck areas. And when you have energy that's in your body that's not good for you, or negative vibes that people might call them, what happens is on a soul level, you're not able to fully leave your body, spiritually speaking, to fully take all of your consciousness over to the other side. So the reason why most people can't do that is simply we're not taught that we're human beings, that we're a spirit in the body. We're not taught energy management, and we're not taught how to maintain our astral bodies in our physical bodies, so that also when one leaves to go dream at night, they can take that fully formed astral body with them. Right? So a lot of people, when they go to sleep at night and they just experience darkness, those are generally people who have very little, if no, awareness of themselves as a soul. Just, I might call that kind of atheist energy, where there's no validation of anything other than the physical, or there's very little of it. And that person, when the body goes to sleep at night, it's like, well, because I am just my body, I am not a being, am just turned off, I'm asleep, nothing happens, that's it, right? And that's the belief in that philosophy, that when the body dies, that's it, you just become food for the worms, right? And so that's where a lot of people experience that at night. And then you get some people who have kind of stress dreams, or they're kind of processing their day, or they're having an argument with somebody, or they're being chased, or just the stressy kind of dreams, whether you actually remember.
I'm trying.
Whether you remember. I know. Yeah, well, we'll get to that here in a second. But those stress dreams, or those dreams where you kind of wake up a lot, you know, have you ever been next to someone who's sleeping and they're like, and they kind of pop awake a bunch? They're like popping, right? Those are usually caused by a person who hasn't cleaned out before they went to bed. And so they end up spending the whole night just processing. And this is where a lot of scientists say that sleep is important because that's how your brain kind of categorizes and sorts through your day and stores all the information and processes everything that you went through. And that is true if you're not processing while you're awake and you're going through your day and you're practicing your energy management skills, which is what we teach here at the Institute. So if you're not doing, then when the body rests, that's the body's time to process everything. And that's why frenetic dreams or sleepless nights or the popping or waking up in the middle of the night of an improper clean out.
Not, I mean, what I'm hearing is I can't watch TV before I go to sleep. I mean, because I know I'm supposed to meditate before I go to sleep. But there's the TV, there's my phone. Because I don't do well. I don't remember a lot of my dreams, or if I do, they're random miscellaneous stuff. So I don't know if that's that because I think I am aware that I have a spiritual body. You know? But I think would you say it's a skill that you have to practice to try and leave, you know, to astral travel, which that's the next question of like leaving your body and coming back.
Yeah, it is a skill that you do need to practice, but it's really more the skill of remembering that you are a spirit in your body 24/7. So the degree to which you go through your day and you're at the grocery store and you're not acknowledging the energy in the fruit that you're picking out, or you're not acknowledging the energy or the overall vibe at the grocery store, or as you're driving in your car and it's all honk, honk, gas pedal, get me to where I'm going, and not necessarily like, well, let me, you know, see the energy of the road or my path, or let me even do some work while I'm driving. Let's say you go through your day and maybe 10% of your day is acknowledging yourself as a spirit. Maybe that's when you're meditating, or when you have slowed down enough to acknowledge yourself spiritually. Generally speaking, then 10% is about how much you're going to remember with regards to what you're doing on the astral plane.
So that's kind of taking every minute of your day, every interaction, and looking at it as like, I'm here in the physical plane, I'm also in the astral plane, and can I see, either with my actual eyes or my third eye, can I see the energy and read the energy of myself in this moment, in this grocery store, in this interaction, the airplane, you know, I'm at the airport, whatever. I get that. Like, I definitely turn off, you know.
Yeah. And I think it's very normal to, in this day and age where life is so fast and everything's so frenetic, and there's so much information being spewed at us in every moment. And it is addicting. You get on the phone and boop, 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 right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So being able to then remember all of your dreams, the practice is not only do I meditate before bed, maybe put my phone down, even just 5 minutes. You don't need like an hour, but put my phone down before bed, maybe sit up in bed for a few moments and just run a little meditation. Remember that you are a spirit in the body. And then as you start to get sleepy, you can lay down and continue to focus on your energy work, or even just focus in on yourself as a soul. Like, what do I look like? You know, what's my spirit vibe today? And then you can even imagine yourself kind of floating out of your body, and even maybe floating up at the top of the room and look down at your body, and really practicing that acknowledgement of, oh, I'm so much more than my body. I'm an eternal light being floating in my room right now. Oh, cool, right? And then as the body starts to fall asleep, you can imagine yourself going to the roof of your building or up into the clouds, or for those of you who have more consciousness, just transitioning right on over to the astral plane, and then boom, you have
Okay.
your light body or your astral body with you over there on the other side. So that is the nighttime practice. But this is like more than an encyclopedia worth of information. It's also, can you be fully conscious of yourself spiritually as you go through your day, right? Or do you have lots of moments of blipping out? And I would say, going for 100% goal is trying to go for that level of perfection. You got to lighten up a little bit. I think sometimes consciousness though is overrated, but at the same time, can you get to like 70-80% of time as you're going through the day, remembering the spirit in all things? You think of like native cultures where we in the West oftentimes associate them as being very much connected with nature and the earth and the stones and the animals and the water. But they're also, as they're interacting with their physical environment, they're very much talking to the spirit and everything, right? There's that prayer after they kill an animal before they eat it, and they acknowledge that spirit, thank you for feeding us, and they acknowledge the spirit in the rivers or in the water or in the trees. And so they're acknowledging that heaven on earth aspect, that there is energy in everything. And I would venture to say, that a native, traditionally, a person who's grown up in that native type environment, definitely without cell phones and technology, but they're living that practice on a day-to-day, they have a very robust astral
I like the idea
experience.
of acknowledging the spirit of each object, and I can kind of hold on to that better, I think, rather than like, I want to see the energy of everything, the whole astral and the physical all at once. Like, I think there's a part of me that's like, I can't deal with that. That's too much information.
Yeah.
But like, oh, what's the energy of this cup of tea? Mm-hmm. What's the energy of this table? What's the energy of my day? I can do that.
Or that just that undercurrent in the back of your mind that it's, everything has energy in it, and to acknowledge the energy in all things. I love that, right? Namaste. The spirit in me acknowledges the spirit in you. And so it's, really about just saying hello. Yeah. Namaste. Hello to.
Do you want to hear our first question? Mm-hmm. Is it safe to astral travel? Maybe define astral travel as well. I'm tagging on that part.
So astral travel is when you consciously or unconsciously take your astral body, which normally in your waking day, ideally, not everybody does this, but ideally that astral body resides in the physical body, and you step out of your physical body with your astral body and you travel around. You can travel around this plane. This is how a lot of remote viewers do it, right? Is and a very good remote viewer will, have a very well-formed astral body, and they'll go over to the pyramids in Egypt, or they'll go over to, somewhere out in California, and they'll, really be able to use their astral eyes and have full consciousness and be able to track what they're seeing, and then be able to bring that information back into the body so that they can say, oh yeah, this looks like that over there in that part of the world, or this looks like that over there in that part of the world. Being able to do that on the physical plane then oftentimes translates being able to do that over there on the astral plane. If your belief system and your awareness takes you into the infinite world of the spiritual plane, and then you can take that same level of awareness over to the astral plane and go view various constructs and stuff over there. Is it safe to astral travel? We're all doing it, whether you know it or not.
We're in.
So You know, so I mean, I think that that is a question that whoever asked that might just consider releasing that, because you're already doing it, right? And we're all astral traveling, whether our bodies are asleep at night, or whether you have a zone out moment, or you're daydreaming. Those are moments where spiritually you do leave your body, or when you're driving your car and you go on autopilot, you know, or you have too much alcohol and you black out. Those are all astral experiences. Most people are just not conscious of it. So it's not a question of safety, because everybody's doing it. It's really a question of, can I become more conscious of what I'm doing instead of being so unconscious? So that question of safety is, I'm unconscious of what I'm doing, so that makes me scared. Am I safe? Right? Well, you're already doing it. You're alive. You're doing decently, so it's probably pretty safe. Now, can you become more conscious so that you can reduce the fear?
Wouldn't there be times where perhaps you're picking up, let's say I'm reading tons of news, and then I'm unconsciously astral traveling to a war zone, and I'm spending my whole day there.
Yeah.
You know, and then am I going to be picking up and then bringing some of that energy into my physical body? Like all that fear and fight or flight and, oh my gosh, there's bombs dropping, you know, and then I am experiencing that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And people, again, they're doing this all the time and they don't really realize it. Like, oh, I just zoned out for a few moments, but I was really thinking about my grandmother who's really sick. And then the next thing, their body's feeling kind of exhausted or tired. And so just like what I was saying, it's really important to clean out before you leave your body so you can bring all of your spiritual awareness with you to the other side. It's also important to clean out before you come back into your body so that you don't bring the debris that you collected up maybe in that war zone or from grandma back into the body. Same thing, right? It also becomes even more efficient and even cooler if you can be consciously managing your energy and cleaning your astral body and keeping that clean and clear the whole time you're out of your body, so that you can just come in and out and you're not having to dust yourself off each time.
Did you just do this naturally as a young person? Like just your ability to be like, boop, 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 you know, be in and out and, you know, and remember your whole night and do things. Did that come naturally to you at a young age, or did you work to develop it, or both?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of my abilities right until around 9 years old. And I remember, especially with regards to astral travel, going out into the field, because we lived in a neighborhood where it was newly developed. And so we had lots of fields for me to just go play in and run around in. And I remember I'd go out in the field and I would just leave my body and I would go peek in everybody's windows and go spy on all go spy on all my neighbors. And this was before phones, so then I could be like, oh, you know, Kristen's home. I'm going to go walk down to her house then. And then I'd, you know, go down to her house and she'd be home and available to play. So, of course, I was using it for more childish reasons. You know, I wasn't like gleaming
like, is my friend home or not?
Spiritual epiphanies. Right? Yeah. And as a matter of fact, still now it's very pragmatic also. But yeah, so right up until 9, I had that. And then my family started to fall apart. My parents fought a lot, big divorce. And that process was about 7 years. And so there was just nothing in my home environment was fun to look at energetically. And it was actually kind of nasty and disturbing. So I very much turned off those abilities. To where I could just see clouds around people. And then at 19, I got a Reiki attunement and things opened back up. So I could see energy again, but I didn't know what I was seeing. I didn't know how to manage it. And part of that process was also building up my astral body again to build up that astral awareness. So the practice that I teach at BPI is exactly what I used at 19 to regain those skills.
We have a question here. What if I have felt as though I traveled, but I don't remember, and this feeling of being in water has been going on for almost a year? So like a feeling of like I'm traveling, but no memory of it.
Yeah, you are.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, and again, basically that question is asking, like, is saying, oh, I have a little bit of a sense of what's going on, but I don't know how to make it more concrete. And this is really the work that we offer here at BPI. And as you can attest to, Three, you've been around for a while,
Yeah,
and it could take years. You
right.
know, there's a lot to chip away at. Because I'm not just talking about astral travel. I mean, that's a fun byproduct. But again, what I'm saying is the degree to which you're spiritually aware as you go throughout your day, that will translate into your awareness over there on the other side. So, holy crap, that's a big practice.
This question I love. Mm-hmm. I used to astral travel and visit my crushes and whisper in their ear to ask me and to tell them to ask me out. Follow-up question, is that bad?
Everything spiritually and physically that you experience happens through agreement. So just like when you took a body, very likely on a soul level, you were what we call a little baby spirit, and you were a soul floating around on the astral plane looking for parents who would be willing to have sex and conceive and bring you into the world. As you were looking, you tapped on their shoulder and said, would you be my mother? Would you be my father? And very likely those humans, your parents, had no clue or remembering or consciousness of you asking that, but they said yes, and boom, there you appeared. So by you going over and doing that to boyfriends, spiritually, there is an awareness there, but very much like most people, they're not bringing that awareness into their bodies. They have what I call psychic amnesia. So they're still agreeing to it. And if it works, you know, hey, cool.
It's like zombie.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, because spiritually they are agreeing to it, and nothing happens without agreement. Nothing happens without agreement. Okay, so there are victims in the physical plane where physical things happen and you are a victim, and that's absolutely horrible. Spiritually speaking, there are no victims. Spiritually, we're choosing all of it, whether we remember or not, and whether we like it or not.
That leads into a question that I have of to what degree, so if the astral is the same time as the physical, it's kind of an overlay, how much can I influence my life and my environment in like, so I love anything to do with the multiverse. Yes, I am also a Spider-Man fan. Yeah, that's
multiverse?
So, like, how much can you like manipulate? And like, I think stuff's still going to happen. I'm not going to live in this like dream state of everything's cherry, but to what degree, how much can we influence our lives by influencing our energy and by influencing the astral, or how do they relate together? And how can like, can you suddenly kind of take a left when you know, like if you're running your energy really well, can you influence life to go better for yourself? That was kind of a convoluted question, but.
Well, absolutely. And this is where we kind of get into the bigger picture of everything as to why would you even want to do energy work and become aware of yourself as a spiritual being and to really develop a solid light body or astral body. And that's because of the very simple instruction that an avatar put forth about 2,000 years ago. He said, as above, so below. And what that instruction was saying is the above space is the astral plane, and the way you have your spiritual energy set or your astral experiences and what you do over there energetically or on the astral plane, so below, so also in the physical. And so what I'll oftentimes do at night is, you've heard me maybe call Boulder Psychic Institute an astral school first and foremost, which means that on a soul level, body goes to sleep at night, I leave with my astral body over to the astral plane. Many years ago, I built a construct on the astral plane that's Boulder Psychic Institute, the astral version, and it looks very much like the physical building we have here in Boulder. And I go over there and teach classes, and I kind of ring the astral school bell, and in my astral body say, "Hey, students, who's coming to class? I'm about to teach," right? And students will come to class, and they'll gain the information, and that's you do. Yeah. You ditch sometimes, though.
Maybe I'm doing other things, dude.
You know, there are lots of things to do, so I'm not top priority.
You're in your you're teaching astral school on the astral plane.
Yeah, and so and that's what makes the classes run smoother, because I'm setting the energy. Hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to talk about. And then everybody who attends class in their astral bodies, whether they remember it or not, they'll start to integrate the information. And this is where I'll have students come in and say, "Oh my God, I've been in so much effort lately." And then I'll be like, "Class is on effort today. We're going to be working and clearing effort out of our bodies." And they're like, "Oh my God," right? Or classes on entities today. "Oh, I've been having, nightmares and getting attacked by entities all night. No wonder," right? And so they'll start to process that energy before class even happens. And then they come to class, and with their psychic amnesia, they're like, "Oh," and then it all pieces together. They're like, "Oh, this is why I've been experiencing all this, because I've been actually integrating the teachings that I've been receiving on the astral body in my physical body, so that therefore when I come to physical class in the physical body and I'm teaching in the physical, then they're able to integrate the information that much more." As a matter of fact, then it's more like I'm just giving the bridge notes. Like, here's what we did, so that you can remember in your brain and feel like you actually did something. But the bigger class is on the astral plane. It's not the physical
so how
stuff.
about, a lot of times people will put out intentions, and I've done this before sleep. If there's something I'm working on, a problem I want to solve, clarity I want, putting that intention to, like, I want to work this out tonight in my sleep on the astral. Does that work? Is it effective? What's happening when you do? Because people, you can solve, like, a lot of times, even non-spiritual people, like, I'm just going to sleep on this. Go to bed. Then the next morning, they're like, got it. Right.
Boom, I'm going to sleep on this, right? I love that. I love where some of these colloquialisms are so much more psychic than we actually realize. Yeah, and so yes, that actually does happen. I've been known to go over to the astral plane with my astral body, go invite people where I need to work some things out with, and we'll run through a scenario that we're probably going to have in the next day or two. And I'll be like, "Yeah, I don't like it. Cut, take 2. Let's try that again." Play it out. Nope, cut, take 3. Sometimes it's take 50. All right, I like that one. Good. We're good. We've done the thing. We got to where we needed to get to. I like how this ended, and then I just leave the energy there. So below, the physical's more likely to be in that vibration of what we created on the astral plane. Maybe the actual physical thing might not be exact, but the vibe will be very similar, and I'll get the vibrational outcome that I was looking for. Me, another person, or a scenario.
Do they like the outcome? You're like, "You give me all your lunch money." No, I mean, yeah.
I think my husband likes it.
I've had a remarkable experience problem solving with someone, spirit to spirit, and we call it the blue room. And then later I told, because I this thing with someone, we just couldn't, it just kept going in circles. And I had tried a lot of energy tools, and then finally I did this meditation in a class at the BPI, and we like talked soul to soul, like, okay, this, and they said things to me that surprised me. And I was like, whoa, okay, that makes me look at you totally different. And then after that, everything changed. Everything got copacetic. And later I told them, and I said, you said this to me. And they were like, yeah. And it was like one of the moments that I was like, maybe this stuff's real. Maybe this is real. Yeah.
And maybe I'm kind of psychic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really quick, I do want to talk about nightmares. And because I was just talking about how I set up almost like a stage where it's like, okay, everybody, we're going to take one, take two. That's my stage. And that is me in my astral zone, if you will. So in the astral plane, somebody asked, are there different, are there different astral planes? There's just one astral plane, right? That is just vast and huge and infinite. But there are different levels of the astral plane, right? Where you can experience different things on the astral plane. And there's, of course, it's a vast space. And so, if you will, I have a portion of the astral plane that I've carved out as this is my domain, right? This is my section of the astral plane, and I am in charge here, and I am calling the shots. And because I'm calling the shots and I'm the director of that stage, take 50, no, try that again, no, exit stage left, because I'm the director of that stage in my astral plane, that's where I have say, another word that oftentimes triggers people, but I have control to manipulate my dreams and to have them go exactly as I would like them to. A nightmare mechanically is if I were to go to your stage, your astral plane, and be a visitor there where you're in control and you're calling the shots. And so I don't get to call the shots. So that would be where I would have a nightmare of being chased, or I'm trying to get away and there's a bazillion doors, or all the doors are unlocked, or I'm trying to fly when I can't fly, or just, I have no control. Okay. A nightmare, mechanically, the reason why it sucks so bad is because you literally don't have control, and that's a nightmare. And so to get out of a nightmare, if you're in the middle of it and you're like, oh my God, I have no control, I'm in a nightmare, if you can have some conscious recognition of it, then you can clear some energy and go, oh, I'm going to come back to my stage, my astral plane, where I'm in charge, right? And I just did an Instagram reel on this. I can't remember if it's been posted or not yet, but the concept of as above, so below applies. If every night you're in an astral nightmare, or your dreams are always nightmares, the degree to which you're experiencing that, I would venture to say you have very little control in your waking life, and might be living a nightmare, right? How many people are living a nightmare versus living a dream? Another way to say that is, how many people are in control of themselves and their energy and walking with control through their lives, with energy management skills through their lives, spiritually and physically, and how many are not?
Here's this. What about when you get jumped while sleeping?
What does that mean, jumped? Like
or someone comes
jumped,
into your astral plane? Is that,
What about when you get jumped while sleeping? Whoever wrote that, if you would add a little bit more there, of course, I take that into the sexual, you can't, got it. So sleep paralysis, that is where your body is asleep, you've left spiritually, another entity comes in. That entity comes in and wakes the body up, your body can't move because spiritually you were smart enough to leave a message in your body that said, I don't care who comes in you at night, if it's not me, you can't move. This is different than sleepwalking, right? A sleepwalker is like sleep paralysis, but you forgot to put that message in the body that says you can't move. A being can come in, get the body up, go down the stairs, go have a burger and fries in the refrigerator in the middle of the night, and you don't remember it because another being actually comes in and is able to move the body. So I always find it interesting that people get really panicked with sleep paralysis. I'm like, that's actually that's like pretty good.
No one can start the engine.
Yeah, I mean, at least your body's not moving, doing stuff that, you know, could be dangerous, right? Some people are sleepwalkers and it's actually dangerous. They find themselves in pickles. Mm-hmm.
Do you see that question?
Yeah. How do you have shared experience with others? Bring them into your astral space. You want to go on a big
adventure with them.
Yeah. So, for example, Boulder Psychic Institute on the astral plane is a building that I've created. I'm the one who sets the energy there, but I have also set the energy of whoever comes in and joins the school to take classes, or other teachers when they come to teach there. They can come and they can have just as much say, just as much control within certain parameters. It's just like in my physical location, people can come take classes. There's no physical violence, or you will have to leave. That's really the only rule. And if you're mean to people, then I will talk to you. You know, you'll have to go talk to the principal, you know. But otherwise, you know, everybody's allowed. Everybody has autonomy and their own sovereignty and their own authority in the physical building. There's just a very few specific rules that you can't do. Same thing in my astral school. And so that's where I can interact and have shared experiences with other spirits and say, hey, you know, let's interact here in this safe environment. Sometimes I will go find somebody who's very astrally aware, and we'll go on like a little astral vacation. We'll go travel around, right? Where they have to manage their energy. I manage my own energy. I'm not there to rescue them or help them go anywhere. We're just traveling, and we're taking care of ourselves as we go travel, which is, right, even in the physical body, the best travel buddy you could have, right? Like the travel buddy that you have to take care of, you have to feed them, you have to figure everything out. That just sucks, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do have a travel buddy like that, usually you plan it all and they don't have say over a lot of things. Well, it kind of goes the same in the other direction.
We have a couple more comments, like PTSD nightmares, or the, you know, thrashing around in sleep. So if people are really struggling with nightmares.
Yeah, I mean, PTSD is, I had a traumatic experience and I took on so much charge from that traumatic experience that my lower 3 chakras are blown open. I can't get them turned down to calm down my body when I'm awake. But in order to put your body to sleep, you do have to turn down those lower 3 chakras so that you can quiet the body, so the body can sleep. And if you can't get those turned down, then you're going to be processing that PTSD, just like what I was talking about at the beginning with like the popping and restlessness, and you can't sleep.
We all need to meditate before we go to bed.
And meditate more. And acknowledge that spirit is everywhere. And, you know, I find that it's not just meditating in a vacuum. It's doing the practica, and I can't stress that enough. What makes Boulder Psychic Institute so unique and so powerful, in my opinion, is our practica space. We offer a lot of practica opportunities because you can meditate on your own in a vacuum, and either you have some pretty cool meditations, but you can't validate them because you're all alone and you have no one to talk to about this stuff. So you're like, is that real? Is that fake? No, I'm just making it up. This is all just not real. None of it's real, right? So in that case, you do need a person to practice with, or a community like what I've created here, to talk to your teachers or your other peers, to bounce things off of each other. Am I crazy? Is that real? Does that happen to you? Da, da, da. And then you can start to clear all of the energy that would have you believe that this stuff's not real. Or you sit in a meditation all alone, quietly. And if you're not stimulated by an instructor like me, or a person that you're doing a practica with, like you're trying to read or heal somebody, then all you're left with is your own thoughts and your own energy. Forever. Most people hate that, and they end up drifting or going to sleep or passing out, or like, I just can't meditate. I just can't do it. I won't do it. I can't do it, because you end up being confronted by way too much that's too difficult to process on your own. This is why a lot of people have a hard time being alone in a silent place too. They can't even, don't even think about meditating. They just don't like being alone in silence, because there's just, then they have to tune into themselves and what's going on in here. If there's a lot going on.
Right. I have a question. So when people, you know, a lot of religious practices believe in heaven, afterlife. When our bodies die, our body dies, our spirit is still in the astral. What's it like? Is it just like, are you in this great place? Are you like, how do you set that up to have a nice experience after you die? You know, because I'm curious about that, like, especially if people are very, very unhappy and want to say, forget it, I'm going to start over and go, you know, are you just going to have the same vibe as your current life? You know, how do you create a nice space for yourself on the astral, I guess is my question.
Yeah, I was just playing around with like a new tagline, which is master your energy, master your life, and your afterlife. We'll have to talk about that in a marketing meeting later. But if you will, when the body dies, you don't automatically go to the astral plane. Most people, when their bodies die, they end up hovering in this physical plane that is also merged with the astral plane. So they're a spirit without a body, and they're hanging out here on the physical plane. This is where you get the phenomenon of ghosts, right? They can't move on. They can't pass on. This is where the Buddhists talk about bardo. The Catholics talk about purgatory. That's basically this space. And so oftentimes a soul on average will take about 50 years before they can fully transition over to the other side, because most people don't have these tools. They're not educated on how to die. And so they just kind of bumble around for 50 years until they kind of bumble and bounce off enough people and enough other spirits to clear enough energy to then move over to what I call fully moving over to the other side, which is the part of the astral plane where a soul then gets greeted by the Supreme Being and their Council of Souls, and they're able to do a life review and go over, here's what I did in that lifetime, what do I still need to learn, what do I still want to work out, what's some new things I want to do, what karma did I clear, what karma did I not clear, and then they come up with their game plan for their next lifetime. Generally, that takes about 50 years. Some souls, I've seen it, you know, take like a year or two, especially if they've been doing a lot of their energy work. And once over there on the other side, it's very much like what one might experience in their dreams, right? And the degree of consciousness that you have in your body during your lifetime, during your waking moments of the spirit in all things, the degree you're able to have that consciousness when your body's asleep at night and you're dreaming, that also equates similarly to how much consciousness you bring with you after the body dies, and how much say you have over creating your next lifetime or your next step. Some people don't take another body. They don't reincarnate for a while as a next step. But you have more consciousness, and then those souls are able to bring more consciousness into their next lifetime when they're born into that body, and they don't have like that psychic amnesia. They have a lot more remembering of who they were in a past life when they come into their new baby body. Did that answer
Do you think
your question?
past lives are actually past, or that they are perhaps happening simultaneously, just in a different realm on the astral?
Well, this is where a lot of people want to take physical constructs that only apply here on Earth in the physical plane, or at least this physical plane that we have constructed here on Earth. There's other ones, but where people want to take these and apply them over to the other side. So there's the obvious ones. You know, you don't take gravity and mass and time and space with you to the other side, right? So on the other side, I could easily access all of my past lives because they're all happening over there, right? On the other side. But here in the physical plane, they did happen in the past because there is time.
Okay. So you can't,
So you have to expand the brain a little bit.
Could we read our future lives?
Right now in your physical body, you are creating your next astral experience after the body dies and your next lifetime. You're always creating it right now as you go. So with regards to like 10 future lifetimes from now, yeah, I have a trajectory. It's very likely going to change because of my experiences and my circumstances and how that's going to change where my trajectory is going to go. So it is out there. I could read 10 lifetimes out there, but it's very likely to change because you're going to change and you're going to grow, right? I'm creating them right now, but in even 5 years, I'm going to be very different to where that 10th lifetime is going to be night and day from what it was 5 years ago. Does that make sense? I would focus on the next lifetime. I mean, just like one step at a time, you know, like don't make things so complicated. As a matter of fact, I would just focus on this lifetime. Most people have a hard enough time just managing this one. Can you just do this one well? Doing this one well, the next one's going to be smooth.
Does bilocating involve the astral plane? I think that's kind of like remote viewing almost, or like, is that being your spirit body?
Bilocating is where you multiply your astral body and you have two astral bodies. And so you split your awareness and you go, let's say, traveling the astral plane, and you go to one part of the astral plane and then another part of you goes to like Mars. I don't know, right? It's a bad idea. It's a horrible idea. Yes. And this is where pretty much every avatar talks about oneness, coming to oneness, being one with all things. And it's not that you and I are one. That they're talking about. Primarily part of that equation or that teaching is saying you need to be all one. You have all of your energy with you, right? And then you're going to have all of your power, all of your consciousness, and all of your capabilities. So if I bilocated, I would be 50% here, 50% there, and I would be 50% reduced in both locations. I used to play with that in my 20s. I don't like it. I just find that I ended up in a lot of pickles. I ended up in nightmares in a lot of situations where I did not have my full capabilities to call it exactly how I wanted it. And I will say, although again, everybody likes to make things so complicated, like bilocating or 10 lifetimes from now, or the next one that we need to touch in on is I need to interpret my dreams because there's this amazing message, right? You don't need to make things so complicated. Just be one And if you have all of your, I mean, most people can't even do that. So just try that, right? And if you can bring all of your energy and all of your awareness into your one astral body, you will be infinitely efficient. You won't need to bilocate. Just like so fast. So fast. I get more work done at night than when I'm
That's
awake.
such a trip.
I get so much more done on the other side than I
That
do.
reminds me of, I couldn't sleep and I picked up my phone and you were sending me edits on this thing and it was 1:45 in the morning and I was almost going to text you like, dude, go to bed. For real bed. Actual bed.
Yeah, for real. That's because everything in the physical takes longer. We have time and space. But the last thing that I do want to end with is dream interpretation. Just like I teach at the Institute when I'm teaching a new student how to read, all colors have different meanings to everybody because the color is the vibration. We all have different life experiences and we have different experiences with different vibrations. So hence every color you're going to define and have a different relationship with. And so if I see red and you see red,
Right.
we might come up with two very different definitions of what that vibe is about. The same thing with a dream interpretation book. That's one person's interpretation. That is not yours. You can look at that and go, that's great for you. That's amazing that you were able to decode your dreams and come up with exactly here's what the messages are. I would encourage everyone to come up with their own. And it's not really about messages. Really, the astral plane and the dream plane is just a continuation of you and your experiences. And so I'm just going over to the astral plane to just go do things like I do here, right? And there's really no big messages to take from the other side when there's that level. Yeah. There's just me. There's no higher self, lower self. Same, like in the physical plane, we have hierarchy. There's always someone above you. There's always somebody below you. We have hierarchy. That's just part of being here on Earth. On the other side, there is no hierarchy, and everybody thinks there is. There's higher beings. There's lower beings. There's higher self, lower self. No, there's just you, and there's just other entities.
This was a good one. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep working on my ability to drift into the astral plane at night and remember it. Yeah. Not random stress. Yeah.
And the spirit.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good reminder. I tend to turn off and turn on my spirituality.
Yeah, when people are like, I want to be more spiritual. No. You are spiritual. There is no more or less. You just are. And so you don't, getting to that place of you don't turn it on or off. You just
I like that.
are.
Yeah. Okay, well, go back to the astral.
Yeah.
Our announcement.
Oh, and I have some notes here before we end. Our August live will be on Thursday, August 17th at noon Mountain Time. We're going to do the 6 modes of intuitive sensing, your psychic clairs, and how to develop them. So like your clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, all those clairs. Our August free pop-up class is going to be on Friday, August 25th at noon Mountain Time, and it's Intro to Telepathy. Link is in bio here on Instagram. That's what the cool kids say, right? Link in bio. And then our next self-healing class, link is also in bio, is September 5th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
I can't believe we figured out all the links in bio. That's so great of us. I didn't do it.
I know.
Yeah.
All
right.
We're doing it.
Okay. Well, you had your announcements. We did it. Those were great questions, everybody. Remember, you can always send us questions about the next topic. We love it to answer questions. And we will see you next month. Bye.
Yay.